structures. So what is market structures, by the way? So what are the four types of market structures? First is the perfect competition. Second, the monopolistic competition. Third is the oligopoly. And fourth is the monopoly. Competition. What is monopolistic competition? And what is oligopolistic? And what is monopoly? So, that's it. Thank you. I hope tayo po ay nagkakaintindihan. So, for more knowledge about market structures, I have here a short video. Enjoy!
Now, cost curves are always going to look the same, but other elements like price, revenue, and demand will differ depending on the market structure that the business operates in. Are there lots of producers or only a few? Is my product just like everyone else's, or is it unique? The characteristics of a market will clue you in as to the type of market structure you're dealing with. Really, there's a continuum of market structures. Let's take a look. At one extreme, we have perfect competition. Well, if it's competitive, how many producers are we talking about? A lot. How many is a lot or a large number? Economists aren't really specific about this. But a large number of producers means that there are so many competitors that each one is too small to affect the market. In my mind, I tend to think of maybe 100 or more so that each competitor has 1% or less of the market. Since nothing you do affects the market, no one really cares what you do, and you're free to make decisions without worrying about how the competition will react. How else can I recognize a perfectly competitive market? Besides having a large number of sellers, each of those sellers will be producing exactly the same thing. In perfect competition, the product is identical or homogeneous or non-differentiated, no matter who produces it. One more characteristic: it's easy for firms to come and go from the industry. That is, there's free entry and exit. Think about it. This industry has lots of producers. Why? Because it's easy to get in and set up shop. In an industry like this, lots of producers all producing exactly the same thing, how much market power, where market power is defined as the ability to control the price, does an individual firm have? None. You have no ability to drive the price because 1, you're so small, and 2, everyone else produces exactly what you do. Time to think. What would happen if you tried to raise your price? Now let's take a look at the opposite extreme of the market structure spectrum. Instead of a huge number of producers, there's only one producer for the whole market, or a monopoly, the prefix mono meaning one. Furthermore, the monopolist's product is unique. There really are no substitutes for this product. Lastly, in a monopolistic industry, entry by other firms is nearly impossible due to the extremely high barriers to entry. We'll get into this more later, but a barrier to entry could be really high costs or legal protection like patents or copyrights. Given all of these characteristics, only one producer, a unique product, and no one else can get into the industry to compete with you, how much market power, ability to control price, does the monopoly producer have? The monopolist has complete control over the price within the boundaries of what consumers are willing to pay. Are there other structures? Sure. In fact, most real-world industries will fall somewhere in the middle ground, not at the theoretical extremes of perfect competition or monopoly. Two of these mid-range structures are monopolistic competition and oligopoly. A monopolistically competitive structure is still competitive, so there's still a lot of producers. Given that there are lots of producers, we can assume that entry into the industry is easy. Unlike perfect competition, however, the products are not exactly the same. Highly similar, yes. Highly substitutable, yes, but not identical. Think about, toothbrushes. You go to the store and there are toothbrushes with square heads, diamond heads, rubber grip handles, bi-level bristles, toothbrushes that play music, toothbrushes that glow in the dark, even with color indicators that tell you when to buy a new toothbrush. All toothbrushes, all highly similar and highly substitutable, but with slight differences. If I believe as a consumer that having a rubber grip handle helps clean my teeth better, then this differentiation gives the producer a small amount of market power. He or she could raise the price a little bit and I would still buy that rubber grip handle toothbrush. If they raise the price too much though, I'll switch to some other type of toothbrush. And oligopoly? Well, the prefix ole means few, so I'll have a few large producers making up the market, each with a large amount of control or market power. There are some barriers to entry, so it's hard, but not impossible, to get in. The product in an oligopolistic market can be identical, like the members of OPEC who produce oil, or differentiated, like car manufacturers. Also, the small number of producers could be just a handful, like cars, or a couple of dozen, like the oil producers. The key is that there are few enough producers that each one has a fairly large chunk of the market, large enough that any individual producer can affect what happens in the market. Because everyone's actions matter, the producers become mutually interdependent. Whatever one does affects everyone else. This mutual interdependence actually makes the oligopoly the most complicated type of market structure to operate in.
Hello, kamates, and I am here again. So, andito po ako sa city and naghahanap ako ng taong mapagtatanungan ko kung ano nga ba ang market structure. Okay, maghahanap tayo. Oy, may nakita na akong babae. Hi, Mom. Good morning. Nagkakanda kasi ako na survey or naghahanap ako ng taong magpagtatanungan kung ano nga ba ang market structure. So, for you, Mom, what is market structure?
I'm Jisoo. I'm 16 years old, and I think the concept of a market structure is therefore understood as those of the market that influence the behaviors of the firms that are working in that market.
So, ayun. Natanong ko na siya kung ano nga ba talaga ang market structure. So, sabi niya, it is understood that it is the characteristics of a market that influence the behavior of the firms working in that market. So, ayun. Kahit kabata-bata niya ba, alam niya talaga kung ano nga ba ang market structures. Nakakahanga. So, ayun. Thank you for watching and God bless us all. Thank you. So, kamates, for you to understand what is or are the types of market structures and their functions. So, here we go. So, as a review, the types of market structures are the perfect competition, monopolistic competition, the oligopoly, and the monopoly. So, the first type of market structures is the perfect competition or the pure market. It means it is the equality level for all the firms involved in the industry. So, example for this model are the stock market and the agricultural industries. So, what are its characteristics? So, first, they are free to enter and exit with no significant barriers prevent firms from entering or leaving the industry. The second is for the firms are price takers. So individual firms must accept the market price and can exert no influence on price. So third is homogeneous or standardized products. So each sellers of these are identical to its competitors. So the second type of market structures is the monopolistic competition. So in this model describes as a market structures in which firms have many competitors, but each one sells a slightly different product. So it was discovered last 1930s by American economist Edward Chamberlain, an English economist. So in here, in monopolistic competition, many small businesses operate under this condition, including the independently owned and operated high street stores and restaurants. So, what are its characteristics? So, I have three characteristics. First is in here each market makes independent decisions about the price and output based on its product, its markets, and its cost of production. Second is knowledge is widely spread between participants, but it is unlikely to be perfect. So, for example, diners can review all the menus available from the restaurant in a town before they make choice. So, once inside the restaurant, they can view the menu again before ordering. So, however, they cannot fully appreciate the restaurant once they tasted its product. Third is the entrepreneur has a more significant role than in firms are perfectly competitive because of the increased risk associated with decision making. So the third type of market structures is the oligopoly. So the term oligopoly derives from a Latin word oligoi means few and polio meaning sell. So it translated it means few sellers. So this is one of the main characteristics of oligopoly. So for examples of oligopoly is news media. So in the US, the top 6 firms account to close to 90% of the mass media market. The Walt Disney, the Time Warner, the CBS Corporation, the Viacom, the NBC Universal. So, for motor vehicles in the US, collectively all the Ford, Chrysler, General Motors, and Toyota have a collective market share of close to 60% in the US. So in mobile phone, example is the iPhone. In iPhone, Samsung and Huawei own a combined market share of over 50% in the entire global market. So the fourth type of market structure is the monopoly. So in market structure, it was characterized by a single seller selling a unique product in the market in a monopoly market. So the seller of this faces no competition as he is the sole seller of goods with no close substitute. So for monopoly market factor, for examples are like government licenses, ownership of resources, copyright and patent, and high steering cost make an entity a single seller of goods. So all these factors restrict the entry of the other sellers in the market. So monopolies also possess some information that is not known to the other sellers. So for the characteristics of this monopoly, single seller of the market controller, as well as the price maker. So the seller of this enjoys the power of setting the price for his goods. Hi guys! So, how are you today? How was my vlogging? And I hope tayo po ay nag-enjoy at natutuwa